and I'm Jessica Alstrom, and this is Transcendence Wellness Center. And we are live at the Pagoda today, and what I was sharing with my team here in Kansas City is that this second Sunday will be the last second Sunday that we have here at the historical Pagoda, because we as a Transcendence team grows. We have moved into a very large compound, and this compound is going to be a community mindset, which means it is a safe space to heal. It is a safe space to play, work, and live. And we're on about 2.5 acres. We could not be more excited about everything that has occurred over the last 60 days and this team that's really come together. Not to mention that we have several graduates from the life coaching certification program that I offer, TICA. It's basically quantum life coaching. And we have about 7 graduates this month that I will be presenting their certificates in September, but they will actually be live on the website this month. They are phenomenal. Over the last 5 months together, these people who have graduated have really stepped up their responsibility game to their journey. And I always say spirituality is what you do when you're afraid of life. Spirituality is not something that you pursue, it's something that you are. And these people have shown just amazing responsibility level within themselves to live as higher self. And once you begin to live as higher self, all of your spiritual gifts start to come forward. And these gifts that were always inside of you begin to just be part of your personality, part of who you are, and you don't have to try anymore. So whether it's channeling the Akashic Records or doing energy medicine along with the life coaching, these people have just blossomed into complete transparency. And so I could not be more proud of this team that we're building. You guys can see behind me, probably not live, but there's a funny little light system that I will talk about towards the end of this second Sunday. And basically what this is photonic white light. And that is what is being dumped onto the planet in the form of the ascension waves, the photonic belt. Everything that is happening on the planet is a byproduct of intense gamma photonic energy that is washing throughout the planet to basically wake everyone up. And because what photonic energy is this white light. And white light is information. You are information. You are white light. Your body actually is fractal white light, and therefore you produce a chakra system. The chakra system is the rainbow. So as I hold the prism up to the light, I see the reflective images of a rainbow. That is what you are. You are white light fractaled by a body, and that produces a chakra system. And that chakra system is deep levels of frequency and communication that speak to the universe and through the universe. So, with that being said, I really wanted to dive into a story. This is a story that I was not expecting to experience, and I just wanted to share it all with you because it's something that's going to affect each and every one of you in your lifetime in less than 2 years. About 30 days ago, we got a call from a client in Philadelphia who asked us if we would fly out and clear their home. And you guys know I do a lot of house clearings, but I do a quantum perspective of house clearing where I'm not going ghost hunting. I'm looking for energy, I'm looking for imbalance, I'm looking for low frequency so that I can rise that frequency in the home and give that person a higher vibrational style of living. Well, this was a unique situation because she had had her house cleared 7 times by other specialists throughout the course of the 30 years she owned this home. So kind of desperate, she gives us a call and says, would you guys fly out here and actually clear my home? And I said, that sounds exciting. You know, I haven't been to Philadelphia before. So Susie and I get on a plane, and as soon as I got off the plane, I saw that the DNC had just left Philadelphia. And I felt a wave wash over me that I was there for so many other reasons besides clearing this family's home. And as I began to drive through Philadelphia, I started to get messages about why I was really there. And why I was really there has to do with the upcoming election. And as we spent the day at Valley Forge, I realized that I was on the grounds where the first president of the United States was. And as I sat on the ground, I felt intense soul PTSD. I felt the stories, I felt the energy, and I felt the sadness that went along with the inconsistencies of how this country began. And although that it was a high intention to bring community together and create something that was based in freedom, there was a lot of layers underneath that was inconsistent with the truth. And as I began to clear Valley Forge, I released over 1,400 souls that went home. And as they lifted, I realized that when you change the past, you change the future. And when you let go of the stories that lay on the grounds of our country, then we make space for new. And when we make space for new, then we can live more in our hearts and create a more self-governed society. And as I finished clearing the space, I was whispered that you are here to claim the first presidency because the one that is elected coming up will be your last. The president that will be elected will be your last presidency, which means that you will no longer be governed by a political party that thinks that they know better than you. You will be learning how to self-govern over the next 2 to 8 years, depending on how quickly and responsible you can become for your own war within. Because the reason why we have government is because we have not been able to self-govern. And when we cannot self-govern, we need someone outside of us to do it for us, and then we complain about it. So what we're going to be doing is, as this new president is elected, we're going to look to each other and go, I could do a better job. How many of you have already thought that? Right? And the joke of this election doesn't bring fear, it brings confusion. It brings a misunderstanding that of all the billions of people in the world, this is who we choose to duke it out for our country. And in that awareness, we will sit side by side with each other and say, I could do a better job. You could do a better job. And putting that into the quantum field of awareness makes a political presidency obsolete. Because you're not scared anymore. I just said those words out loud and I didn't feel any fear in this room. That means change is here. It means you're ready for this. It means that the new systems have been in place. Everything is ready. The new money, the debt forgiveness, the new food, the new technology to grow the food, and the people who will be aware enough and responsible enough for their own conditions and their own vibrations will rise up and become leaders. And not leaders in the form of power and struggle, but leaders who will lead through love and respect and community and information. And we will all begin to learn the things that we were not taught in school on purpose, that we know viscerally within ourselves. It will all start to come back, because every time a wave of photonic energy washes over this planet, it upgrades your DNA. And then you get to know yourself a little bit more, because as your DNA becomes crystalline, you have remembrance, you have awareness, you have access to all of your unlimited abilities that you were born with. And as this information begins to percolate and awaken within you, you are not going to be afraid of the past. You're not going to be afraid of what's going on in the world, because you remember who you are and why you came. And why you came was to be part of the new world. What you came for was to be part of the ground crew that would show this planet how to love and be a community and work together and leave ego out of it. So as you begin this next few months, I think you know by now that it's time to give up your old stories. It's time to give up who you've been so you can let in who you're becoming. Because your state of being dictates your vibration. And your vibration will either be a blessing in this new world, or it will be a lot of work. Because someone who does not know themselves in the new world will feel lost. Someone who is not grounded in their body, mind, and soul will feel very scared of what's coming. And because what's coming is going to be so new that you have no access and memory to search through on this lifetime or this incarnation to make sense of it. So you're going to have to learn to live in the unknown of yourselves. You're going to have to learn to live in that experience of not knowing what the answer is for a little while and get really comfortable there. Because if you think you can control the future based on who you've been in the past, it will become a solid lesson for you. And that's not why you came. You came to play the game for a little while until you were called to duty, until you were summoned. And as you've been summoned, the right people begin to show up in your life, don't they? And the right opportunities just fall into your lap. And the right spaces where you're supposed to live your new chapter will just materialize for you, because the planet is officially fifth dimension. And manifestation is instant in the fifth dimension. And what I mean by the fifth dimension is I mean that when you live through the heart, you are no longer living through rational, logical mind chatter. You are just moving and experiencing and creating and manifesting through that internal guidance system, through that spectrum of light that you are right here, that knows exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And it's only the stories of the past that keep you confused at this point. It's your commitments and your obligations to the old world that are hard to give up. I know. Trust me. And when we let go of that old paradigm, then all we see is beauty. All we see is each other. All we see is what we're capable of, what the potential of this planet is, and how fast and easy it's going to actually be to clean it up. Cleaning up this planet with 1% of the population being awake and motivated to do it would happen in less than 7 years. So I can imagine what 50% of the planet just being in a state of grace and love could transform this planet in less than a year. And like I said, everything is in place for you. Everything is here. I don't want you to worry what's going to happen. Oh my gosh, it's going to be chaos and mayhem. And the only way that you could actually believe that is if you have all of those feelings about yourself deep within you. And if you have those feelings deep within you, then I suggest that you sit and you work through the war that you have within your own being and move into a higher perspective and start to look at what's going right. Because if you could take your eyes off the TV for 5 minutes, you would see that your neighbors are becoming more friendly, that there is more organic food available everywhere, that there are people who know how to do ancient things and they don't know how they're doing them. And the help is here. And everything we need is in place, and everything is just waiting for the fall. Because when we have the fall, when the shadow clears, the rise will be so exciting that you won't even believe that you're on the same planet as you were born to. Your heart will begin to expand through your chest, not 3 feet, not 6 feet, but about 28 feet of what your capability of. Which means that you're not going to just be able to heal the person who's sitting in front of you, but you're going to be able to heal everyone around you with one thought, one intention. So my question for you is, where are you in all of this? In your state of mental being, in your physical being, in your logical mind, in your obligationary jobs and lives that you're living? Do you feel fed there? Do you feel nourished there? Can you expand? Because if you cannot expand in your current situation, that is your marker to let you know that you need to be able to go somewhere where you can spread your wings. I don't care if that is starting a blog. I don't care if that is starting a group community in your living room so that you have a place to communicate to each other. Join support groups. If you are a healer, you need to start healing. If you are a teacher, you need to start teaching. If you are a student, then you need to start applying everything that you're learning into your lives. Because the shift is not waiting for you. The shift is already here. And it's going to be the ones who are fearless and courageous enough to let go of who they've been so they can become all of themselves. The holistic being that you are. Body, mind, soul. So in this new energy that is rushing in, it is so important that you ground. If you do not ground your circuit completely, which you are an electric being, if you do not ground your circuit, you will feel like you're getting hit by the waves. You're going to get triggered constantly in this new energy because you are not planted firmly in the ground. And the demonstration that I showed the class the other day is what it feels like to be ungrounded in this new energy is to be in the ocean and standing there head on and having the waves crash you. What would happen? You're going to fall down, you're going to get twisted in the waves, you're going to get water in your lungs, you're going to cough, you're going to choke, you're going to feel scared. That is the same as what's going to happen if you're not grounded in these new energetic waves, photonic waves of light that are coming onto the planet. So what I ask you to do is bury your feet down really deeply into the sand and brace yourself and have an intention that every time the wave comes, it's for you. That it's opening up access of you so that you can know more of yourself. So your life doesn't have to be just a mirror reflection of everyone to know who you are. You will have that visceral knowing of yourself again. You will not need to look to your neighbor and to your home and to your bank account to define who you are. You will just know. And it will have nothing to do with your bank account. It will have nothing to do with the way that money is set up. You will start to feel your God spark. You will start to feel like you are God again. And anyone who stands around you who isn't in that vibration, you will not be that interested anymore. You will not have much to say. Small talk will be dreadful. So what your job is even though you may not have anybody to talk to outside your tiny group, become more of yourself. Become that party of one. Become that president. Become that leader. Become that choice of anything you could create that you can manifest. August represents infinity. 8/8/2016. That's 4 8s. That's infinity, abundance, karma, and release. Because what you're doing right now in August is you are releasing thousands and thousands and thousands of timelines worth of karmic energy tied to other planets, to other beings, to other times. You are completely letting go of old stories from your Akash. And as you let go of all of that, you make space for huge creative abundance in your life. 2016 represents manifestation. It represents abundance. But what are you manifesting? What are you abundant in? Are you abundant in illness? Are you abundant in lack of money? Are you abundant in lack of support? And if the answer is yes to that, then you're not really utilizing the month of August in your best way. You've got to change your belief systems about what you don't have and remember the creator that you are inside. Remember who you are and know that anything that you can imagine outside of your circumstances is more real than the body you sit in. Your imagination is more real than anything that you could create in the world of matter. Because the past is actually this now moment. This now moment is now the past. This now moment is now the past. So if I'm living completely in this now moment and not my now moment and my future present, then I am living in the now moment and my past. That's no longer going to work for you. Your job is to, who am I now? Who do I choose to be? Where am I going? How is my behavior? What character am I playing? Who do I choose to become? That's the mindset of five-dimensional beings. Is, I don't have it, I need to create it. I don't have it, I want to experience it. I'm going to move in the direction as if I already have it, and the universe will provide me with everything that I need in order to become who I've just set the intention to be. That's not my job, is to sit around in third dimension of circumstances and say, how do I problem solve? My job is to go into my imagination and say, where are my solutions? Because my solutions actually lie in the non-physical reality. There are no solutions in circumstance. There is problem solving in circumstance, and when you problem solve, you're basically creating a problem out of a problem, which creates a new problem. Perfect example of this. I want a new car. I don't have the money. Where's my problem solving? Get a loan. Now I go into debt for my new car, and now I get my new car, but it's bittersweet because now I have this debt. Five-dimensional living would be, I want a new car. Universe, just put my order in. Make it happen. And then your new car shows up because your heart is telepathic. So when I ask for something, there is someone on the other end of that asking that is in God form that is going to say, I need to give Jessica a car. And they are in their highest excitement to deliver that. Because what they're doing is they're being of service. And what I'm doing is I am playing that role of God, and I am asking and intending the universe what I want, and then it has to show up. And in return, while I'm waiting for my new car to show up, I'm going to hear the call of someone else's heart, and I am going to do a healing session on that person. I am going to go help that person move. I am going to go help that person start a small business. And so as this person is servicing me, I am servicing this person, and that is how we become one. You are so deserving of everything you want. And the new definition of money in 5D is deserving. You've got to find that place inside of you where you deserve everything you want. And I don't care what you've done in the past. That isn't who you are anymore. Those stories that are playing from your birth and your childhood and your teenage years and those moments where you were unaware, those stories are a different you. And the you that is here, that has survived everything that you've survived up until this point, deserves happiness. Because at the root of everything that you want right now, the underlying experience is, I want to be happy. I want to feel passionate. I want to be of service. I want to help change the world. I want to provide a better place for my children. I want to live an abundant life. So as you send those signals to the universe, you are communicating not with the universe directly, but other people's circumstances and events that say, I want to make that happen. And I don't care what it takes for me to make that happen. That's going to be my life's purpose. And then my life purpose becomes to service someone else in need. And all of a sudden, did you see how I just self-governed my life? Did you see how I took total responsibility for my creation? I didn't say, okay, what are the rules of the third dimension? I didn't go get a loan. I actually said, this is what I want, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to ask for. Now, where's my highest excitement? My highest excitement is now to not go find the money. My highest excitement is to go do a healing session with someone, or to go open a new company, or go do a charity, or go volunteer. And as I'm busy doing all of these things, my manifestation shows up. Because I'm not looking for it, I'm not watching for it, and I'm not doubting myself. Does this make sense? So with August having such intense energy moving through, you will be a lot less triggered if you ground. And what that means is that you put your energy down into the deep part of the core of the earth and you bring it back up into your body and you allow Mother Earth to heal your body, and then you send that energy up into source energy and you bring that energy back into your body and you circulate it. That is a complete circuit. And if you're not doing that between 2 and 5 times per day, your thoughts are going to be all over the place. You're going to have your higher self and your lower self duking it out and having conversations about you. And you're going to feel like you are ungrounded. So as you begin to ground, you really need to make sure that you are living in the presence and the future of now. Because you need to know what is exciting. You don't need to know where you're going. You need to know what feels exciting, what feels the most alive to you. And you need to start taking action. Because as this election hits, more changes are coming. More changes are coming. Because as everything needs to break down, we need to break through. And as we start to come back together, we need to have an absence of fear. We need to stop listening to what could go wrong and imagine what could go right. Imagine this new planet being abundant and loving and unconditional and forgiving and exciting. Does this feel exciting? Okay, so I really wanted to set the intention that more people ask questions this month. And the reason why is because month after month after month, I think to myself, why doesn't people ask this? Why don't people ask this? Why don't people ask this? Because the way that I bring in my energy from higher self, I can't really answer the question until you've asked it. I know what my general message is, but anything that's complex or detailed, I won't have limits to what I answer. I won't sugarcoat things. So if there's something that you want to know about the coming future or anything that you could possibly imagine, I would love for you guys to really interact more with me and ask some direct questions, and where the answers come are none of my business. Okay? So let's get started with the question and answer. Do we have any online?
Not yet.
Okay.
One person asked if you would run for president.
Well, I am you, so let's do that as a team, right? I'm not your guru, Tony Robbins, right?
I have a question.
Yes,
So, the information you've shared with us today,
yes.
what about sharing it with others who aren't here? How would you, recommend we go about that? What if they're in fear? Is it our job to share it with them, or?
Your job is to not share anything that you don't feel inspired to share. Because the thing is you will know who needs this information, and you will know who's not ready. You know, I haven't been feeling that this group was ready 2 months ago to let them know about certain things, but this group is ready now. And this group is ready for whatever I say today. So, you just need to use your discernment when you go back into your communities with your friends and understand that when you say that this will be the last presidency, you better have a big story of what's going to be left behind for them. Because the human ego doesn't have the ability to know forward, it only knows back. And so it's going to go back in history, and the first thing that's going to pop up in ego's mind is Civil War. And when we think of Civil War, that feels really heavy because a lot of us have genetics attached to that time. We have family attached to that time. We have a planet that is attached to that time. And just like I spend my hours every day doing time travel and healing traumatic energy of the past timelines so that we can change the future, I would recommend that each and every one of you go into your communities and do some soul PTSD clearing. Which means that instead of just clearing a house or clearing a space, I want you to go into these spaces and actually let this energy go. Because just like you have stories playing in your own energy field, traumatic events actually leave stories behind and vibrate in their location and can trigger you when you step foot into them. So when you step into an Indian burial ground, you're going to feel those stories. You might not get the story, but you're going to feel it. When you walk into a space that had a traumatic event attached to it, you're going to feel that. And as an empath, that's why you can feel it. Your job is to let it go. Is to drop into your heart space and pulse out gamma frequency out of your heart into that room, into that field, into that space, and send that energy home. So it can integrate back into white light. So the PTSD stories of our history are not continuing to play. Because America started with the intention of you come here to be free. This is the melting pot of the planet. Everyone who wanted freedom came here, and it was a trap. Because what we learned is that you can't outrun yourself, can you? You bring your stories, you bring your lineage, you bring your baggage into any new relationship that you come into. And the United States was no different. The United States is a community built on baggage, stories, broken hearts, lost remembrances of ancient technology. So if we can all go out and clear our spaces, and all we need to do is drop into your heart and send that unconditional love into that space, you will transcend that darkness into light in about 3 seconds. Because I cleared Valley Forge in 15 minutes. And it was not hard. Because that story was ready to be done. That energy of Philadelphia was ready to be cleared. And so I advise you that you go and do this. Because what you're doing is you're transforming the planet even faster. You're putting a new vortex in that location of unconditional love where before there was a war or before there was a tragedy. I actually had to go do that on Metcalf the other day because every time I drive on Metcalf I see accidents. And the buildup of those accidents, all that fear and that pain and that unconscious thought and that tragedy still remains on Metcalf. So I thought, okay, well I'm driving, let's just do what I'm driving. That's how powerful you are. I'm not special. I just believe in the power of my heart. And I know that if I tune into that, then I will affect anything that comes into my attention, into my focus. And as I focus my energy more and love and replace all that traumatic energy, then I am doing my job, and all you have to do is drive down the street and do the same. You don't have to worry about the conflicts with your family anymore. Drop into your heart space and clear your lineage. Clear your bloodline. Clear all of that ancestral information that's still bombarding your energetic field. It takes about 2 seconds because you're God. It's just one intention. Yes?
So how can people clear their bloodline?
Set an intention, drop into your heart, and it's done.
Could you walk us through that?
Okay, I don't even know what my bloodline is completely. I know I have a lot of American Indian descent. So what I would do is I would imagine my bloodline in the way that my higher self would show me, which is perfect. Which means you don't have to have a memory to imagine something. Because what happens is as soon as you go into imagination, you are in the bridge of the 4th dimension where all of your Akashic records are. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to imagine what my bloodline looks like. I'm going to get a vision of that. And then I'm going to drop into my heart, which means I'm going to think about something that I love unconditionally, that warms my space. And I am going to get that space really big. And then I am going to send healing and love to all of my bloodline. And what that does is it changes my biology because I'm connected to that lineage. Therefore, by byproduct of being unconscious, I have been tapping into their stories as well. We know this through epigenetics. We know this through biology. We know this technology is real because it's proven in science. But as a light worker and an empath and a healer and a teacher and a student, your imagination is where you need to be solely living, which means that most of your life needs to be lived through non-physical reality at this point. Because this isn't good enough. What you can create here is limited, which is why you have always felt limited. When you spend time in non-physical reality, you have access to all. You have access to everything. And the only way that you can heal anything is by imagining it healed. What are you really? Your focused imagination. That's it. And that's what holding all of your atoms together to create an intention of you. It's that simple. So when you live in that imaginative state of knowing, then you can create your reality so quickly that you don't even have to honor time and space, which means you ask for it and it's showing up already. But we just want to make sure that we're getting what we want and not what we've been. Yes, Katie?
Okay, online I have related to let go and be dragged. My experience of old stuff coming up in my awareness is sometimes coming up because it's leaving, and we rejoice in the letting go. Can you speak about that?
Yes. Everything that has been buried down and into a deep shadow within you will need to rise to the surface so that it can be healed. Okay? So if you are manifesting things right now that are a byproduct of you letting go, then honor that and allow it to be fully present within you and accept it completely and then let it go. Because what you're going to notice is that you're still manifesting some of the old patterns, but you feel different now, don't you? You don't feel as scared. You don't feel as confused. You're just recognizing this again, yet you're holding such a stronger state of being that it doesn't affect you the same way that it used to. And that's you with a self-realization of how far you've come. That's really important to recognize how far you've come when you're going through these extremely fast growing pains. You know, they're calling them ascension pains. I call them growing pains. When your body is changing its frequency, when your tastes are changing, where your hobbies are changing, where the things that you want in your life are changing, that's a byproduct of basically spiritual growth. And you are growing from the inside out. And part of growing is letting go. It's like you can't keep wearing those toddler clothes anymore when you're 6 feet tall. You've got to let those things go. You've got to let go of the things that taught you the lessons to get you where you are. And you're not going to hurt anybody by letting those things go because that person has a contract with you to experience the other side of the spectrum in that and have that aspect as a catalyst for themselves to awaken. So when you let go of someone, you give them the opportunity to stand in their own truth and find self-love and find their own creation and find out why they attracted that situation and become the deliberate creator of their reality. That's your job. Your job is to let go so that you can grow. Rex?
Well, I see a lot of light workers, they know how to love other people, most of them, and many of them are learning to love themselves,
Yes?
but many of them don't, and myself included, haven't learned how to love their body. And you were talking grounding, I know that's a good step. What else would you do?
Well, I will tell you, grounding is the fastest way to be in your body. And it is also the way to love your body. Because the thing is the reasons why you don't love your body is because you're not in it. You're not in it. So you're looking at yourself from the outside and you're in judgment of yourself. But when you're in your body, you feel how deeply your cells love you. You feel your own heartbeat from the inside, and you feel the power of your breath. How could you not love that? You only don't love yourself when you're looking at yourself from the outside. Does that make sense? When you're on the inside of your body, you don't even know what you look like other than how you feel. Spend more time in your body and less time looking at your body. Does that help?
Yeah.
Katie?
Online, can you repeat the question? They're asking to hear it.
Oh,
They can't
Rex's
hear me.
question?
No, just mine online here.
Okay.
Should we heal or help the ones who don't want to get helped?
Should we heal or help the ones that do not want to be helped? First and foremost, that's impossible. Because this planet is built with free will. So you cannot help anyone that does not want to be helped. No matter how much energy, no matter how much you give, no matter how much money you help them with, it will not be of service to them. Because they are needing to be of service to themselves. They have self-abandoned. So you cannot rescue them. It is impossible. It defies the laws of physics. Because that person has the will to say no. And if they're saying it from a visceral place, even if the words coming out of their mouth, I want to know more about this, please help me. Yet every time you try to help them, they have an excuse, they have a judgment, they have a complaint, and they bring your energy down. I would suggest for your own self-love that you move into the direction of those waiting. There are millions of people waiting for you. Don't focus on the ones that are not ready. They will have their catalyst experience, and they will hit the ground, and they will bounce back up, and then they will see you at a party in a year from now and be like, oh my gosh, let me tell you what happened. You were so right, because you planted that seed for them. But it has to germinate someplace else, because your job is to be a catalyst in every area of your life for yourself and others. That does not mean save the world. It means be a catalyst. That means be part of the change, the seeds that are planted to let the world know who you are without judging yourself and what you're capable of. And anyone who's ready will find you. They will find you and they will say thank you. And they will be in gratitude of you. And you will learn from them and you will receive from them. And your heart will expand and you will feel alive for the first time. Because you're not trying to rescue those who need help but don't want help. Does that make sense? Kara?
So I know a couple of us have manifested car accidents within the last week.
Car accidents, woo! Yeah!
And I was wondering if when we are not supporting ourselves or our journey and things like that, or we're getting off track in some way, because of this new energy coming in, are the messages getting louder and bigger?
They're getting faster. She asked, she said there's several people who have been having car accidents lately, and so she was asking if the energy that's coming in on the planet is basically increasing that. I would say yes, yes, and yes. Because it's instant manifestation. You cannot be out of alignment with your own soul now and not attract something that's going to put you right back into your body. Because a car accident is going to put you right back into your reality, isn't it? It's going to put you right back into where your subconscious programming has been. And it's going to let you know really quickly and with intense speed who you are and who you're not. So that manifestation was a blessing. Everything negative is a shortcut. It's going to get you into awareness quicker than had you not experienced that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So losing your job, car crashes, body issues, relationship failures, these are your catalysts. This is your awakening to say, wake up, wake up, wake up. Where are you vibrating? What are you doing? What are you thinking? You can't think that way in the new energy. You cannot think this way anymore. And you're going to manifest what you're thinking very quickly. Because in 5D, time and space is very, very, very almost non-existent. See, third dimension, you can have naughty thoughts, you can have ornery thoughts, you can have dark thoughts. And it takes a while to produce that stuff. And then by the time you manifest it, you don't even remember having those thoughts, so you feel confused you manifested it. In 5D, you think it, it becomes. You think it, it becomes. So you have to be hyper, hyper, hyper focused on who you are and what you choose to see in yourself. And if you're abandoning yourself, you're going to manifest self-abandonment. If you're crashing in your life, you will manifest a car crash. If you are feeling wrecked, you will have a wreck. Because it is so literal, the universe. It is so here. You feel this. This is an example of what you feel. This is an example of what you feel. You see how none of that is concrete? It's just an example. Manifestation is just an example of what you're believing about yourself. That's it. And have you noticed that I'm not talking about how anybody else sees you? It's all how you see you. So if you become the president of your own world, and you become royalty of your own life, then the universe will start showing up that way for you. But it's that little deserving. I deserve. And the only thing that you need to do to learn to deserve is to remember who you are. You are not this body. You are an experience having a body. And that, right there, is pretty phenomenal. Katie?
Online, is raising frequency causing all these aches in my body? Can you repeat it?
Yes. Is raising frequency causing these aches and pains in my body? Yes, but you will not have extreme aches and pains if you don't resist the frequency. If you can stop resisting change, if you can stop feeling like, oh, the pressure of the frequency. And I would say that in order for you to not feel the ascension pains that are associated with the upgrades of your DNA and the photonic energy on the planet is grounding. Grounding will take most of the pain out of your body. But most of you haven't lived in your bodies your lifetime. You've lived slightly outside. You've been judging yourself through an outside perspective, and you haven't really been present. And that's what causes pain. Self-abandonment causes pain. Okay? Yes?
One area I'm still trying to break through is kids and the technology. And you have said in the past, that there are some benefits to that.
Mm-hmm.
My breakthrough though is I can't figure out why I'm so wound up about it.
Why you're triggered?
Yeah.
Because your kids are wanting to do technology all the time?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing about your kids, and I'll say it in a little different way. So our children are completely 5D beings. Okay, they didn't really have to go through the 3rd, 4th growth period. They came in at a hard 5. And when you're a hard 5, you cannot tolerate anything that is not within your reality. And 5D being knows that this is virtual reality. That this world that we live in is a hologram. And that this is all virtual reality. So where do you think their highest excitement is going to be? Virtual reality. Give them a break. Okay? And if it's triggering you, what you need to do is you need to find where you're not living in your virtual reality. Where you're not living in your imagination and why you feel that it's not okay that they get to do that. Because they walk outside and see nature and go, that's not exciting to me because that's not the way it needs to look. The way it looks in my 5D mind is it's beautiful and plentiful and people care about each other and they love each other. And that is that's when I'll go outside. But for right now, even if it's war games, it doesn't matter because they're still creating their own reality and they get to feel alive. And when they get to feel alive, they will know how to do this instinctively as they get older. They'll say, well, I've been living in virtual reality my first 15 years, so this is virtual reality. It's a belief system. They're just not honoring your belief systems that you have to work hard for a paycheck. See?
They're not being, I think I find it as a control, like it's they're sort of hypnotized by it, like controlled by it.
Yeah.
And that's just how their world is.
Okay. Well, and the thing is as a mom, right, and we understand conscious parenting, that you are still governing their expansion and to give them opportunities to have virtual reality outside of the TV. So teach them, tell them stories, take them into nature and tell them how they can create virtual reality out here. Share stories of metaphysics with them because it will feel like home, right? Say, okay guys, you can play an hour of video games, but then we're gonna watch spirit science for 25 minutes. And we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, because if it's a control factor, right, you don't feel like you have control. Is that how you feel?
I'm not sure if that's the right, thing, but you're onto it.
Yeah. The thing is children, they need to learn to be in their imaginations more than they need to be in your reality. Because what a 5D child is going to do is going to go, I just want to play. I just want to be here. I just want to do this. I don't want to work the jobs you've worked. I don't want to do the things you've done. I want to be me. And that's going to trigger you because you've never let you be you. And control is something that each and every one of you is going to have to let go of. And your children are a really great way for you to learn to let go of control because they can't be controlled. These new kids cannot be controlled. But they also need to contribute. Which means in order for them to be a vital part of a community, they have to have something that they put in to be of service in order to get the video games. Okay? So if you have them be more of service and spend more time in imagination outside the video game, they won't need the video game. Because real life will become just exciting as the video game. But that's going to take work on parents' part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's my fear, is that they're not really cultivating that imagination past. It's such an easy entertainment.
It is. It is. And that's honestly how 5D creation is. It's easy. But to have them move into that 1 foot in the third dimension takes them back to exactly who they were that first 7 years. 1 foot in alpha, 1 foot in theta, which means they're in your reality, but they're living in their own world. Okay? And that's exactly who we all need to be. Is we're still playing this game, but we're living in our own universe. And contribution is the way to zap entitlement. If you have entitled children, put them to work. Teach them to find art of service. Teach them that they don't get what they need unless they become of service. It's this story that I told you in the beginning about asking for a new car. They ask you, Mom, I want a new video game. That's like me asking the universe, right? And you go, okay, become of service. And they go, okay. And as they're becoming of service, they forgot they asked for the video game. This shows up and they go, well, this is way more fun being of service. Because you don't teach children through hard discipline and control. You teach them to be of service because that's who they are. But if we don't teach them how to be of service, then they lose the huge part of creation that they need to learn here to be a community. Because the 5D being doesn't really know how to be a community. They know oneness. So they have to learn how to be a community. You need to learn how to be a team. And you learn how to be a team through service. Which means, okay, what have you done for the family today? What have you done for your personal self? What have you done for self-love? 50-50. 50% self-service, 50% service to others. Children, if they could learn that at a young age, they would be the most genius of anything. Because they would just know how to feed themselves and how to feed others energetically. So the balance is off, and that's why you're feeling triggered, because you're having a hard time with the balance of this generation. And I don't think that there's a mom out there right now, or dad out there right now, who's dealing with these kids that doesn't feel that same way in some area. So the tweak is putting them in service. And it doesn't have to be service to you, it could be service to their community. It could be doing something outside of them. Because these kids get so inclusive that the world exists around them that they forget that you're here. All they think of is that the world is just providing for them. And they need to learn how to provide for the world. That's the missing piece. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Question? Yes.
This is from me.
Okay. Katie, question.
You said that we're releasing karma
Yep.
right now. Is that we're doing it, obviously we're doing it when we're clearing, like in time travel and such. Are we doing it even when we're not
Yep.
consciously doing
It's
it?
being done for you. okay? That's why your memory feels wonky. All right, if your memory is feeling wonky right now, it's because your Kosh is being reprogrammed. Okay, a lot of old trauma from your timeline is being washed out for you. The thing is when you can be present in the now moment and take full responsibility for who you are and who you're becoming, then what happens is the universe does you a solid and starts wiping out all the trauma that it would take you millennium to clear. So that is your karma, okay, of you being present, you being here, you being of service, you being helpful, you being responsible for your own body, you being in your body. Let's go of thousands of lifetimes where you weren't in your body, where you weren't who you came here to be. That's how we can ascend in a 2,000-year period very quickly. What would normally take hundreds of thousands of years to descend into density and then rise back into life in one lifetime, it's so possible. All you have to do is be in your body, be accountable to yourself, and stop judging yourself from the outside. That is your only job for the rest of your life. Because if you are those things, you naturally want to be of service. You have endless amounts of energy. You don't have fatigue and pain in your body. You don't doubt yourself. You don't judge yourself because you're not seeing yourself from the outside anymore. You're seeing yourself from who you really are on the inside. And that makes life so much more fun when you're not always judging yourself. Does that make sense? Anybody else? Yes.
What if your memories felt kind of wonky like your whole life?
What a blessing. What if your memories follow your whole life? And I said, what a blessing. The thing is you came in here as a 5D being. You're actually part of the generation of the new children, which means that memory is what keeps us stuck in the past. What a blessing to not have the memory of who the stories and what we've been, so that we can just be whoever we say we are in this now moment. So it's a blessing. So don't ever judge yourself because of that. And if someone says, you don't remember? Say, yeah, isn't that cool? Sorry you do. What a pain in the butt for you. I don't believe that. I wasn't there. Right? Yes.
Okay, you can answer this later, but, and if you choose to, but I hear so much of this stuff all the time, like, I want to know something that will like blow our minds, that would surprise us of what's coming.
Well, that would be impossible if you were in a now moment, because there's nothing that I could say that you wouldn't totally accept. I mean, ask me something specifically, and I'll give you a specific answer.
Okay, let me think about that.
Okay. Because if you give me a specific, I will give you a specific. Yes.
From what you say, it excites me, and I see it as a positive as
Yes.
far as our leadership and that sort of thing, which is like a 180 for me over the course of my lifetime.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think about all the people who will have fear and be affected negatively. So I'm kind of...
You have empathy for the ones who are not excited about the changes?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how could you turn that empathy into a positive?
I set an example, possibly.
Yes? But how could you stop the negative feelings of fear that you're feeling for other people? How could you transcend that into a positive?
Well, I can see through the fear myself, so
Yes.
possibly just but knowing that although they feel fear, in the long run, we will all benefit from what's taking place.
Right. And so what I'm hearing when you say that is that I need to become of service. I need to be a teacher. I need to help others. Because you're not really afraid of what they're going to feel. You're afraid of not being able to help them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Because it's never about anything outside of you. It's about, am I going to be able to help those? Am I going to be able to be there for those people? Am I going to be able to support my friends and family if things go to hell and come back to heaven? And the answer is yes. You already know that. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. You're in my class, right? You're in the right place. Yes. Katie?
But it's the reminder also that you can't take on those who don't want your help, right? It's like the discernment of, I will not try and drag people.
You can't, it's
But I
impossible.
will, okay.
And have you guys noticed that it's actually becoming boring to try to rescue people who don't want to be rescued anymore? It's becoming like, this doesn't even feel like, I don't even feel sad about this anymore. I just feel like, okay, when you're ready, I'm here. It's because you are moving your frequency out of fear, and when you move your frequency out of fear, you don't resonate with fear anymore. The thing is the only time that you're even thinking about someone else's fear is if you have a resonant pattern within you that feels somewhere deeply fearful about yourself. You can't feel someone else's fear if you don't contain it. You have to have that fear within your own being to even feel someone else's fear. Because when Kara says I had a car crash, I'm like, yeah! Woo! Girl, that's your catalyst. What are you going to do with that? I'm going to get a new car. Awesome. What else? I'm going to take time off from work. Fantastic. Mission accomplished. However you want to do it, it doesn't matter. That's the logistics. Okay? So if you would listen to your soul, you wouldn't manifest that stuff all the time. But the thing is we're learning right now how to listen to that. And so it's okay for us to have these experiences of being pulled out of a job or getting hit by another car. Because you know what? That's going to be a wake-up call for you to say, where have I abandoned myself? If I was fully grounded in my body, I would have known, which she actually did know, a few minutes before the accident that something was coming. Now, if she would have been grounded in her body in that moment, she would have known what to do 2 seconds sooner. But that's okay, because she experienced exactly what she needed to experience in order to have the revelation of where she was going in the future and who she really was. Because as we start to lose ourselves, we will manifest a wreck or something like that. And none of it is bad. It's all wonderful. I mean, we have a party around here. Someone gets divorced, someone loses their job, we literally celebrate. We're like, woo, yeah! Your catalyst showed up. Because have you noticed you don't grow from the promotions? You don't grow from getting another house. You grow from losing the house. You grow from losing that. Because the thing is why we want something is always symbolic of happiness. You wouldn't want anything outside of you if you didn't feel totally happy within. So everything you're searching for is, I want to be happy. I want to feel safe. I want to feel abundant. This house will make me feel abundant. This car will make me feel abundant. This will make me feel abundant. So we search for that, but what we're really wanting is, I want to feel safe and happy and abundant. So my advice for you is start feeling those ways. Start feeling safe in what you've got right now. Start feeling abundant in what you've got right now. Have gratitude for who you are, and then you won't have to manifest a lesson instead of your dream. You will just become who you say you are. Any last questions? Katie?
You had said last time that we have been growing through pain, and now we're going to make the switch and grow through reward.
Yep.
But obviously some people are still going to be in pain or resisting or not being present or whatever. So in growing through reward, would that be you'll utilize that more the more joy you live in? Okay.
So that's a great question you brought that up. She basically said last month I talked about being able to learn through reward now and not having to learn through pain. It is the difference through a third-dimensional perspective and a five-dimensional perspective. In a third-dimensional perspective, you're only able to problem solve. So you have to create a big problem that forces you into non-physical reality to get you to learn a lesson. That's how you create a non-physical reality. It's usually through, you expand into higher awareness through pain or suffering. But in a 5D perspective, you expand through reward. You expand through being fully present and living through each moment of excitement, 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 joy, 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 joy. And then you're rewarded with your manifestations from that perspective, because 5D doesn't have the capability to learn through fear because fear doesn't exist. So if we're living in a third-dimensional perspective still, then we need to learn through that problem-solving part of our brain, which says, I got to solve a problem with a problem. I got to solve a problem with this problem. And then Your higher self will manifest an accident for you because you have to go into non-physical reality to get the solution. You cannot find a solution in physical reality. It doesn't exist. The only thing that exists in physical reality is what you believed from the past. You can't create with old material. You have to go into non-physical in order to expand your consciousness and your life. I am so surprised nobody's asking the real juicy questions, but that's okay. Yes?
I know that the lunar eclipse is coming up, and I was just wondering, like, even in the next 10 days, what the energy is going to be doing with that.
Well, lunar eclipse represents the end of duality, basically. And so for those moments, you will have the opportunity to experience that. And you will have the opportunity to expand who you've been and where you're going, and give up all belief systems about who you are outside, gender and religion and focus and dynamics. And for that brief moment in time, you will have that frequency on the planet of non-duality. Just like when we had the Lionsgate energy open up in August, it basically opened up a porthole for fast karmic healing, tons of abundance, manifestation, and the remembrance of infinity. That's what this porthole was about. And then we had a new moon, and so we are fully supported with the energy updates that are coming through. What you do with the coming updated energies is up to who you believe you are. If you believe that you are the creator of your own reality, you aren't going to accelerate through any retrograde or any Lionsgate or any porthole that's going to open, and you are going to learn to surf those waves of photonic energy instead of getting crashed by them month after month after month. So when you start to learn to surf, it gets pretty fun. Because now you become one with the ocean. You become one with the rhythm. You become one with the photonic field, and you learn to live as the Christ, which was, Christ consciousness was the unconditional love. That's what's being poured into your body month after month after month. And the only opportunity that you have is to choose whether you accept that or you get hit by the wave. Either way is good, because every way you either learn or you grow. You either learn or you grow, and when you learn, you do grow. So you can't fail. We'll take one last question. Someone be brave.
So what's the juicy? I want to hear the juicy.
I can't say it unless you ask. Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there is a high probability that our financial systems are going to change.
Our financial system is changing, yes.
Stock market. What would you say is the best way to navigate through that?
Okay, so yes, money is going to change, and it's going to begin to change right after the election. Okay? So I would say that if you have a lot of money and faith in your government, that you need to learn to self-govern your money. Whatever that means to you, let that sit and percolate. Because if you have no government, who's got your money? Okay? And what does money really mean? We will still continue to use money even after the banks close for a little while. But if it's locked up in a stock market or something like that, it will non-exist. So just sit with that information and let it become part of your self-governing plan over the next 60 days. You really need to get a plan of self-governing your life, which means, what would I do if I didn't have a grocery store? What would I do if I didn't have a bank? What would I do if I didn't have a car? What would I do? Not to bring fear, but to bring inspiration of who you are and who you know. 5 years ago, my spirit guide said, make friends with a farmer. You're going to need to know a farmer. You're going to need to know how to do things and create things without money. So I started doing a lot of barter in my company. I met my farmers. I met my people. This is your job too, is to make friends with your community, because you will be surprised at the genius that is right next door to you. And when all of these things go away for a while, until the new systems come back up, we're going to need each other even more. Because it isn't what I have in the bank, it is who am I? Who am I that I can be of service in my community now, and that I can get food for that? or I can watch children, or I can take care of this, and I can build this, and I can build that. And that is one of the reasons why we are in this compound, is we are practicing this communal idea of everyone being of service and everyone getting to live their pure genius of who they are and not have to show up and do everything, which means you get to show up and be who you are authentically, and someone else gets to show up and be there authentically, and it all works perfectly like a perfect puzzle. So your job this month and next month is to figure out how to self-govern yourself, which means stop being so codependent on your government and your money and all of these things that we've taken for granted. And just learn to have a high, exciting vibration with these ideas. And when everything starts to change, you will still be surfing. You will not fall below the surf. You will not get hit by the waves because you already have been planning. You have already been setting the intention. You don't even have to take physical action. You just have to start imagining who you would be. This is when your kids are going to stop playing video games. So don't worry, it's all coming. Thank you for asking that, Katie, because I know a lot of people have that question. Amber, did you have one?
So is there, I'm assuming that there will probably be some kind of chaos in the 3D world.
If you're a 5D being, you won't experience it.
Right.
If you're a 3D being, you will watch what looks like chaos. You will experience chaos, yes.
So when you opened today's meeting, commented about this being the last president.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how long this president is going to be in office?
The probabilities of how long this president will stay in office have everything to do with when we're ready. You know, we need that security blanket for a little bit longer until everything becomes such a joke that we just end up doing it on our own anyways, and it is basically the logical next step. Which means that everything's gonna happen. It's not like a fall and a rise. It's like a slowly, like, you know what? Have you ever watched, and I'm gonna say this word lovingly, an imbecile try to do something, and you're sitting there and you're going, and you're, no, I'm just gonna do it myself. That is the way it will be. Right? I'm just gonna take this in my own hands and do it myself. Think about the people who are already doing that. Building these tiny homes, building these self-compacted growing systems out of these shipping containers, these people that are traveling all over the world and teaching all this ancestral, shamanic, growing, healing energy. We've got cannabis in almost every hospital now. We are there. So as we let the puppets move off of stage, we will take that governorship back and we will know exactly what to do because your higher self already knows what to do. You just need to be able to show up to know what your logical next step is. And if you're in fear, you're going to be looking to someone to say, what's my next step? What's my next step? And that just means that you are not inside of yourself where all of your truth is. Because you will know exactly what to do. Just like when you go into a session and you sit down and you know exactly what to do. You've been doing this your whole life. You were born to either be part of the technology or the food or the education system. You are born to show the world what beauty looks like. You were born to be a muse, to be a light. You are a lighthouse. They will come to you and you will have the answer. And you'll go, how did I know that? That's so crazy. You will just know. Your DNA is as old as the universe. And it's way smarter than your logical mind could ever imagine. Let it do its job because it will know exactly who you are and what you need in the right moment. You won't know it a moment before. You will know it in the moment you need it, which is why you need to be grounded in your body. Because if you're not in your body, you won't get the memo. Okay? So I want everybody to really practice this month self-governing. Get your community bigger. Get your ego out of the way and start collaborating. Collaboration is going to be the name of future, which means you have an idea for a company, do it. You're a healer, start healing. If you're sick, self-heal. Get in your body, stop abandoning yourself, and do what you know how to do. Okay. I'm going to end that. Hopefully this wasn't too intense today, but I have a feeling for the next couple of months, this is what we have to look forward to, which is exactly why I would like to end with a party. So this next month, anybody who would like to join us for Second Sunday, it will be at the compound, and let us know. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you next month.